And there is also apologies from Paul Lonsdale, and these are for lateness, and Jamie and Ali and Tim for lateness. I know Tim is in a hearing that he can't get out of. I'm not sure about the others. And there's an apology from Yanni because he's having to make a deputation to a parliamentary select committee. So apologies for very small numbers, but obviously we should get underway.
Thank you, Councillor Clearwater. Thank you. Just to remind everyone that this is being live streamed, as this is a public workshop. So the first thing I'd like to do is take you back to the process that we have, because there have been a number of other dates now in this process that need to go in your diaries, and if it doesn't fit, we need to know as soon as possible. So all of the dates post the 2nd of May are now confirmed that you are available. If we can just look through that. So today, obviously, this is today, the 17th of April. Then we've got the 2nd of May. The 6th of May is the new date in there, and that's to go over the final 2 chapters, natural hazards and subdivision and development. And then the 12th of May, I believe, still needs to be confirmed, and I think that might have to be a special committee meeting of the Earthquake Recovery Committee of the whole. And going back to then the 13th of May, if they are signed off on the 12th, which I had up there, that's when the draft chapters would be forwarded to the ministers for their comments. Then we should have them back by, I think it's earlier that week, but I've put in just to give a few more days, we should have the comments received back again by the 6th of June. Then we need to meet on Thursday the 12th, and we've put aside 2 days here, depending on the length of the comments and the length of discussion around that. So the dates for, the time for the 13th, for the Thursday the 12th is 3 till 5. You might like to take a note of that. And I apologise, I didn't have these times in here. And for Friday the 13th of June is 10 till 5. So there's a day and a half in there to discuss the minister's comments and determine what revisions, what amendments you may wish to make on the basis of those comments. And then on Thursday the 19th, again, that date is provisional. That would need to be a special committee or a council meeting date to approve the draft chapters in the Section 32 to go out to notification, with the current date for notification being on Saturday the 28th of June. And we're really hoping to confirm those here today.
Perhaps councillors can check our diaries too. By the end of the day, this afternoon to confirm, would that be okay with you?
Yes, if you could go through Claire here, but I understand that Claire's already looked at diaries and these are the dates she's been able to come up with. So any changes we would need to know, yes, urgently.
I've looked at your meeting commitments in terms of, obviously not other commitments, but I've certainly looked at the meeting commitments that you have. There are, on 1 or 2 of those days, there is a board meeting that would start at 4 or 5, so it would just later on in the piece, so it would just determine where you were up to on a particular day. But certainly the decision-making meetings, they are free at the moment.
As an example of that, but and the Mayor's office will be aware too of these dates.
Yes.
Thanks for all that, because this is lining up the dates we know is really...
Yes, I've checked this with the General Managers and the Mayor's office and the Chief Executive as well. Not Kirsty, but we manage the diaries, yes.
But right now, because the schedule has been amendment, whether the community residents or the group they have a comment regarding to this, the early stage, the draft the district plan, whether they are still allowed to give the comments through the email or through the website.
The comments are still open on the natural hazards chapter. For reasons of being able to commit to bringing you chapters for your review, we have had to cut off the comments when we stated we would, otherwise we wouldn't have any papers to bring you to be updated. But we'll always have regard to comments. We continue to read comments as they come through. So I know that you have a number of pieces of paper in front of you. I'd just like to go through so that you're aware of what's on your desk. What we're going to do today, first of all, is just go through the revisions that were promoted by yourselves at the previous workshops. So you have in front of you the chapters that we went through, but just the pages where there are revisions occurring that we need you to be comfortable with. So that's the definitions, introduction, strategic directions and commercial chapter. I just note at this stage that the transport revisions are still to come back to you, and they will come back on one of those later dates that I've just talked about. That's because they're still having discussions with NZTA about the changes to the possible changes to the road classification, trigger levels for the ITA ruling, and the Runanga are also looking at the transport chapter. So that will come back to you still. And then you also have in front of you a repeat of the industrial chapter in case you've forgotten to bring it with you from when it was first handed out a couple of weeks ago, and it's section 32. Can you see that?
I'm feeling they might still be behind the desks, so we were going to give them out when we did the industrial.
You don't have them on your desk? Okay. If not, they're there behind the desk and they'll be handed out when we speak.
Yep.
I've bought my own, because there's also, and there's the commercial, draft of the commercial chapters too on our desk, is it?
That's correct, but that's for the revisions. We've already been through the commercial chapter,
Yes, we have.
so that's just for the revisions.
Yep.
And the contaminated land chapter, and it's section 32. Now, those will be on your desks when we talk about them if they're not already.
Okay, and some of us have probably bought them because they were previously distributed as well.
That's correct.
Yep.
That's correct.
Thanks, Bridget.
Then there is a request for the Cafe Metro consent, which you have in front of you, which may not be obvious because on the top of it is a table that compares the conditions of that consent with the rules in the draft commercial and transport chapters that we're looking at. And it's very clear, 2 or 3 pages in, that it's the consent for the Metro Cafe. That's to read at your leisure. Another request was the list of temporary activities, which looks like this. And there is a memo from me just explaining how to read that list. And the last request that was made for information was a list of the changes being made in the district plan review process relating to the suburban centre master plans. It's just two-sided, that's right. Just one piece of paper. It's headed up implementation of the suburban centre master plans in the draft commercial and residential chapters of the proposed district plan. So those last 3, the Metro Cafe consent, the temporary activities and the suburban centre master plans list, they're all for you to read and have reference to as you wish. Just for your own edification, I would just share with you that there was a lot of interest on green building standards, the possibility of including that into the phase 1 chapters, residential and commercial. I'd just like to bring to your attention that you have a copy in the councillors' room of it's a large document, and it has a copy of all of the submissions that we received to the date of close off. There is a submission in there from the Green Building Council, and it talks about the benefits of having green building and sustainability in the district plan. I did have a page number for that. I seem to be missing it, but I can... Oh, page number 280, if you want to look that up. Okay.